Good evening, folks. Welcome to this live stream for the FOMC. We're 18 minutes ahead of time, but I thought I'd spend this time just going through some of the charts and so on ahead of the FOMC meeting and, well, the announcement at least. And we'll be here online together for the announcement, so that'll be kind of fun. Please do let me know if you're in the chat, if you can hear me okay, and if everything's working well. I'll check for myself over on my channel. Yeah, all good. Well, thanks for those of you who are here. Thank you, Hamid Reza, Carlos. Lovely to see you all. So quite a big meeting coming up, announcement really, but more importantly, the news event afterwards and what the statement by Jerome Powell is and what the questions from the press and maybe the plants in the press might have to ask and his responses and the way the market takes it, of course. So good evening, everyone. It's lovely to see you all in this late afternoon evening show. Hello, Sam, Zed Pepe, Ali, lovely to see you. Lucky G, very lucky G today. Well done, mate. Lucky G won a big trading account over at Otter Prime today. So well done to you. Nachlopsky, Rozum, nice to see you. Markle, Jazz, David Morel, Ignat, Gruzkov, lovely to see you too. So if you would indulge me, folks, I'll go through some of my charts that I'm watching currently ahead of the announcement in 15 minutes' time. And it could be a big one. I don't think there are going to be any changes in rates, so don't hold your breath for that. But I do think that there could be some fireworks in the meeting afterwards in the presser. And perhaps some pretty probing questions. So it'll be super interesting. Good day, Roby. Lovely to see you too. So ahead of the rates announcement, let's have a look at what's going on. For those of you who've been following me here on YouTube and over on X, you'll know my positions. And my last two long positions over here on the NASDAQ, about 1,000 points in profit from that last one at the bottom. And we're hedged right at the top from yesterday's high, awaiting the news today. And on the S&P, we're still long, naked long, unhedged, but we're not quite as well positioned as we were on the NASDAQ. So, and we added a little bit more on the dip down to the channel top yesterday, right at the bottom. So two long tranches there on the S&P, naked, unhedged, unprotected, in profit. But, well, we'll have to see what happens in this meeting. And I'm talking about the meeting, not the rates announcement. Yeah, lucky G. Well done, mate. Hamid Reza, I have a strong feeling after the conference, stock markets will pull back a little, as always. Actually, you know, I have a different opinion on that. And I think because we've seen such hot news coming out of the economic reports today, across the board, except for housing, but generally excellent numbers. And I think there are pent-up buyers waiting to see what happens later on with the FOMC. Later on, meaning in 13 minutes from now. But more importantly, the presser thereafter. And I think we have pent-up buyers waiting. And you can see approaching the FOMC, this is a day chart, but if we go to the very short-term charts, the 15, we're holding right up at today's high. And on the 5, you'll see the same thing. So pressing up into the news, not down. And I think there's some pent-up buying pressure underneath, leading up into and including today's news. So anyway, we're hedged on the NASDAQ, so it makes no difference to that position. But we're certainly long in the S&P and some names, including MSTR, Tesla. We're short on NVIDIA. That might be rescued by this announcement. We'll see. So 12 minutes to go. Welcome to the chat, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. It's great to have you all here. There's nothing great going on except I wanted to try out some new kit, which I'm busy doing. And I thought, well, why not do it whilst the FOMC news comes out and while the presser goes on. So we'll stay around until the news and see what happens after that, see what the number is. I've got it on my screen right next to me. I'll know right away as soon as it comes out. And we'll see how the market reacts. But as I said, the big move in the market will come a little bit later on. Half an hour later, once JP starts making his statement and the press get their teeth into him and ask some pretty touchy questions, I might imagine, considering what went on with Donald Trump during last week. And Sam S. says he also thinks the bears could get destroyed here. Yeah, it's quite possible, Sam. But remember, I don't think much is going to happen, actually, when this number comes out in a few minutes' time from now, 11 minutes. I don't think much is going to happen unless there's, a change to the interest rate. So this is the way it looks. 10 minutes' time, the Fed interest rate decision. I'm watching it over here at my FX book. It's a free resource if you want to use it, not only for the economic calendar, which is really quick, but also all sorts of other stuff that you might find interesting. Brokers, reviews, trading systems, etc. And a tracker for your own trades, actually. It's a great site, mostly free. Anyway, expected to be 4.5%, currently 4.5%. Anything different to that will create a furore, but I don't think there's going to be any change. So we'll see. Right. Zed Pepe says NatGas looking very interesting and at these levels so tempting. $3 on NatGas. Yeah. So look, I don't expect any big moves on the dollar index right this second, depending on what happens later on at the presser. But whatever happens to the US dollar, if there are any big moves later on today, which I don't think there will be, I think we'll see the big moves on the dollar on Friday, potentially with any anomalies in the non-farm payrolls report on Friday, 8:30 a.m. EST. That will affect currencies more than what we're going to see today, I think, unless there's an interest rate change. And so I don't think we'll see any dollar effect or anything coming from these meetings on NatGas, but we are watching this level. I had a long from around about where we are currently, which I got out of, and I have another long from higher up. So I basically got, excuse me, out of my long position at 305, out at 305, and we're currently trading at 305. So I'm just waiting to add that long position back on, and I'm hoping that $3 will hold. If $3 does not hold with natural gas, I fear that we're going down to at least 2.5 and most probably, possibly, down to the bottom of this head and shoulders pattern sort of measured length, about 2.3 to 2.4, maybe even 2.2. So, and we have broken out of this not descending triangle. We broke out of the bottom of an ascending triangle, but we also broke through the bottom of this bear flag, cleaned through the bottom, retested it, failed. We're well down underneath. But we are at the $3 level. And this doesn't look very different to the US dollar, actually, against the Japanese yen. So, for example, that sort of pattern often looks like it might break down rather than hold. But $3 has got to fail first, and we have not done that yet. And then going back to the 4-hour chart, you can see we're trying just to hold that level, even having made a new low below that potential double bottom. So I took my long position off at break even, and I'm waiting to put that one back on if we get a chance. Okay, so 8 minutes to go until the FOMC announcement. Quick question from Asan about crude oil. Let's have a look. So we're a bit, well, it's sort of to plan, really. We've come up to the 50% retracement and this red line, which is not a trend line, it's an angle or a gradient line. And the area where I said we may, and I drew this blob quite a long time ago, we reached up into there. I didn't think we'd quite get there. We shorted it at the 200 period moving average here. But that was only a small position. I was really hoping for that blob. We got there. We've sold some more up at the top here. So, either we'll carry on moving up. In that case, I think we'll have to go back to the top of the channel. That'll take us up to about 73 for the retest of this very long-term channel, which has never been broken to the upside so far. Maybe this time is the chance. Who knows? But until that channel top's broken, I expect they will carry on moving down and lower, down into this sort of zigzag down. But it's a messy, as I keep saying, it's a messy old commodity. It makes a smelly old mess when it burns, and it also trades like that. So expect a lot of toing and froing, and influenced highly by manipulation in the Middle East, for example, and political concerns and manipulation too, and deals that get made. So one's always got to allow for that sort of thing to go on. And then, of course, if there are disruptions to supply, like we may be looking at, which I think is driving oil up right now, with Russia and shenanigans with the sort of triad of Russia, the US, and China, and all of their energy deals, which seem to be multiple and fairly convoluted. And I think that's what's putting the mockers on the market a little bit. In general, though, I do see WTI and crude moving down. All right, folks, 5 minutes to go before the FOMC rates decision announcement. Expected no change. And I'd like to have a look at what's going on as we move into it now. So currency is holding pretty steady. We saw another dip down in the euro, concerns about a very bad deal Europeans made with the Americans. I'm not too sure if it's a good or a bad deal, but it's perceived to be not great. Even admitted to be not great by someone in Germany today. Can't remember who it was. Watched him on TV saying, we got a bad deal. And that's why the euro's moving down. Fair enough. He was honest. It's dragged the pound down a bit. In general, I do think the dollar is going to carry on moving downwards for another few percent. So as we go into this FOMC announcement in 4 minutes now, nothing much happening on the currency front. Let's have a look at stocks. Unless we sort of put up one big chart, we may as well do it and look at the short-term movements. So let's go down to the 5-minute chart on the NASDAQ, keep an eye on that, and let's see if there are any extreme moves that occur at the time. Whilst we keep an eye on that, we'll switch back to it in a minute or two. Let's have a look at the S&P holding strong, German 30 holding strong. Many of these names not really moving. And then, of course, gold and Bitcoin. I'm afraid Bitcoin may have to move down to about 114 or below that, and potentially even back down to 112,500, the way it's slanting down, despite that wick low. And maybe today can spark something for Bitcoin, stocks, the next move up. And I think that we may be getting into a phase of an exponential rise in the stock markets, despite everything, and maybe because of everything, too frothy. And that blow off top could lead these cryptos higher. But we need something to drive them up. And maybe what goes on today, and with the jobs report on Friday, we could see some action. As I ramble on and on and on. So nothing much happening on gold and silver. Someone asked in the chat, thanks for the question. Silver analysis. Well, I'm pretty bullish on silver. But we've locked in up. We've locked in. So basically, I think it depends on what gold's going to do. And because I think gold's going to move down, we've been short on gold until the bottom of this triangle, and we hedged it there. If we move down, I'll unhedge that there for a path down to about 31.20, and then potentially even lower, down to about 3,000. I got a lot of ridicule when we were at the top here, and I even put a poll up on X saying, which path do you choose? My path's always been path B. There are some that have chosen C, but most chose A, and of course, well, that triangle failed. Both triangles failed. We've got a triangle within a triangle. So I think if gold's moving down It probably places silver in jeopardy of moving down too. Um, so yeah, basically that's it. And until, how do we get that chart scale back to normal? So until we get sort of direction from here, and we are moving into some consolidation support here on gold, possible that we'll break back up inside those triangles and that silver will move up. If not, I think we'll follow this path and we'll probably hedge the long positions that I've got on, above break even or around break even, wait for the dip, take profit on the shorts with a short hedge and add to those existing long positions slightly further down, using the profit from the short hedge, taking profit at the bottom to cover some of the risk of the new longs that we add on at the bottom there, as we often do in the hedging strategy. So one more minute to go, and let's switch back to the NASDAQ chart. And let's put it up here, nice and big. All right, just going across to some questions before we get the countdown here on my calendar. So we covered Somnath, there you go, I covered silver for you. Edgar, waiting for a double bottom at $3 on NatGas, loading up 2 more positions. Fair enough. Okay, we've got a minute to go. We're counting down the seconds now, 56, 53. Don't get too excited. I don't think much is going to happen. I think all the action will happen half an hour after this moment. Mr. Mian says, will your live stream be at the Fed meeting? No, I'm going to be here. I'll let you know what the number is, but we're not going to, no, I won't be streaming the meeting. I'll just be streaming. It would be nice to do that actually, to stream and comment during the presser afterwards, but I'm just going to stay for this, and then I'm going to have to go back to my private group, look at my positions carefully and see what the reaction might be during that press conference. I can't be online whilst that happens because I have pretty important positions on. Zepepe says that probably $3 won't hold on NatGas. You might be right. Does look pretty bearish overall. Any thoughts on long VIX? Not yet. Druven, let's see how we're going. Let's see what we've got. All right, come on. I don't have a number yet. Market's not reacting. There we go, 4.5 unchanged. All right, quickly, let's go back to the charts. So no reaction from the NASDAQ, maybe a little tick up. This is a 5-minute chart. Ticking up on the NAS. S&P, let's switch to the 5-minute. Ticking up a little bit, no big reactions there. Let's have a look at crypto. Not much on Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, maybe a tick up on Ethereum and XRP. And gold and silver, quite a tick up on gold actually. Let's quickly zoom into this one. I'll get it away from my face view. Big tick up in gold, right? So remember, we're trying to see a rejection from this trend line. Let me go quickly to the day chart. We want to see what actually is going to happen right here at this purple line into that zone. If we break down and carry on moving down, I'll seek to get further short, maybe remove that hedge or leave the hedge on and add further shorts to the shorts that I've got at the top there. So let's see how we go. I don't expect any major reaction to this news. As I said, wait for the presser afterwards before taking any serious positions on your trades, because there's not going to be these are not serious moves. These are just flutters. Flutters, because we knew that we wouldn't get an interest rate increase, and we didn't, and a little flutter in the heart, and that was that. So we now need to wait for the meeting, and I'm going to love and leave you all, and thank you for being here with me so I could test out my kit and say hello to you all, wish you all luck, and give you a few thoughts on natural gas and gold and oil like I've done. And I'll see you in my video tomorrow or in my live stream. And remember, you can catch me on Ola Prime TV, and that's on YouTube here. Seek it. It's HOLA Prime TV. It's a YouTube channel, and I do the morning show along with Paul. So it'd be great to see you there too. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, and turn on your YouTube channel to CNBC if you want to watch the press conference that JP will be holding in about half an hour's time, actually 28 minutes from now, and see what he's got to say, see what the press are asking, and then see how the market reacts before you decide to put any huge positions on or take any big bets. All right, take care, enjoy it, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.